Hey Chris, it's Alexa. Thank you so much for completing your video and sending it to us for review. I thought you did a great job, mostly because you did it, and that's awesome. So my first comment is about the background. I like the simplicity. I think it's fantastic. My one tiny adjustment to make it even a little more pro is that it looks like you're working with fabric. And the best way to sort of minimize any type of distraction would be to iron it. Really simple. It looks like it could be a sheet. So go ahead, give it a nice iron, and then find something sturdy that you can rig up behind you to really literally hang the sheet behind you. Maybe you can even use a broom, or they've got really inexpensive lighting stands that you can get, something to really make it crisp and clean. The second thing that I was curious about was your eyes. I could almost think that you were looking at the lens, but at the same time I thought maybe you were looking slightly below the lens, perhaps at some kind of scripted keywords or phrases that were appearing on your screen. So I would love your feedback to know exactly what you were looking at, just so that I can be sure. Because I think that your content is really critical, but for me, it's that connection that happens in the lens. And that does take practice, by the way. So once you've done the work of identifying your ideal viewer, really play with the notion that you are having a conversation with them. Almost that you could hear their responses or their questions in your head. And that way it makes it even more personal. So from there, the personalization for me is what makes a video kind of come to life. And for me, what I saw your eyes come to life was when you were talking about chiropractors and then the specifics of lower back pain. Like you kind of lit up a little bit when you got engaged in that piece of the story. So for me, because I don't know anything about, keyword searches and pay-per-click campaigns and stuff, I almost wanted to hear that level of specificity, like that level of connection from the beginning. Like instead of, I think the way that you set it up now was how someone could typically do it, but this way to do it is so much better. In my mind, I thought, okay, imagine the juicy bit of information for me from your entire video was think like a buyer. Think like a buyer. Think like a researcher. Think like a buyer, because basically ultimately you want someone to purchase your product or service. And once I hooked in to that idea and the specificity of the keyword search, I kind of was like with you. In the beginning, it felt like more informative. So from the interest level, information is like here, but from the storytelling level, it's kind of up here. So there is a blog post that I did called Scripts versus Thought Bubbles, or Thought Bubbles versus Script. Anyway, I'm going to conclude the link because in this blog post, I talk about how you can communicate effectively by almost imagining what you want to say. You're painting a picture of a story in thought bubbles, and so your viewer can go on that journey with you. And this is the real specific area that I would encourage you to go even further. There's so much information online, but if you really want to build that tribe of fans that come to you as a trusted source, then play around with this idea that you're having a conversation with a friend. So when you're looking for your content and the sort of key nugget, what is that juicy takeaway that you want your audience to have? For me, this video, the highlight would be think like a buyer. How to think like a buyer and select, keyword terms that sell. I don't know, something like that. But play with that. Play with that and then see if you can reframe how you set up the video. I thought the length was terrific. But to take your viewer on even more of a journey. Anyway, you're the best. I appreciate your videos. I subscribe to your site, so I'll get notified when you make more videos. And I encourage you to keep going for it. All right, take care. Bye.